Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a video I got to do. It's on the Henry Ruggs III DUI case. It's just something I got to do because a lot of people ask me what's going to happen. What's going to happen to him in prison if he goes to prison and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to get into that here in a minute. But before I get started, please check us out on member programs, Patreon, YouTube. Check my merch out, all this kind of stuff. Check my book out, Gangster Redemption. It's all in the links below. Now, let's get into this case, and I'm going to give you the rundown of the case first and then get into what's going to happen because I was in prison with professional athletes, and I'm going to get into that here in a minute. Henry Ruggs is a football player. He played for the Raiders, and I said he played for the Raiders because he was cut. He was only drafted in 2020. I think he had a $3 million contract too. He was a young kid. He's born in 1999, 22 years old. He was in a brand new vet that got clocked at 156 miles an hour. And at impact, now these are all on the records now, but they said on the computer, it was 127. So he saw her and hit the brakes and it was too late. He also had a blood alcohol level of 1.6. which gives him a twice the legal limit. 0.8 is considered, after 0.8 is considered intoxicated. Double the legal limit is 0.16. But the girl he hit and killed, sadly, is a 23-year-old named Tina Tinter and her golden retriever Max. Yeah, that's her dog. What a shame. It was a fiery crash. She was in a RAV4, same car as my brother's got, actually. And it got caught on fire. I don't know how, and you don't see a lot of that, but this one did. Maybe the speed, something happened that it went on fire, and that's a tough way to go. Now, Ruggs faces 1 count of DUI resulting in substantial bodily harm and 1 count of reckless driving, according to the Clark County Detention Center website. Prosecutors also are exploring possible charges for the gun found in the car. Clark County District Attorney Steve Wilson said. I don't buy that one. I don't think that's going to be a big deal at all. Wilson said in court that Ruggs could face a second felony DUI charge for substantial injuries sustained by his girlfriend, who was a passenger in the car. Now, if I saw the video correctly, I saw the girl with him on the curb, and I didn't see substantial, but maybe, I don't know. I'm sure anything can happen afterwards. Who all knows? He did get out on $150,000 bail. First of all, let me emphasize how much of a tragedy this is. There's no winners. There's no losers. It's all tragedy. Poor young lady lost her life. He made a bad choice. Is he a bad person? I don't think so. I wear a t-shirt all the time, and you all know what it says. I don't believe in bad people. I believe in bad choices. I think this poor kid, Henry Ruggs, was a kid, got money thrown at him. I don't know why at that time at night he's coming, going. Now, this is not a highway either. Now, he's got a Corvette. Now, listen to me, guys. I have a sports car, and I understand speed, and I go fast. Not that fast. I have been 150 miles an hour in my Corvette too, on Alligator Alley back when I was a young kid. And I'm telling you, when I was going by cars, it was like they were standing still. Obviously, you know, I'll tell you, this is crazy. You got to say something for the safety measures of a Corvette. How this guy hits a person going 127 miles an hour and pretty much walks away from it. That gives a lot for the safety measures of the Chevrolet and what NASCAR has done for safety of cars. Obviously, in her case, the car went on fire. I don't know if she would have had injuries other than that, I'm sure. Getting hit at 127 miles an hour, that's at impact. I mean, he was clocked at 156 miles an hour going down the road. That's the highest speed on their computer. But on impact, when the airbags deployed, it was 127 miles an hour. Now, listen to me. I know how young people are. I have a nephew who drives fast. I drove fast. It's something we did. Bad choices. We were all lucky never to kill somebody, because if somebody pulled out or somebody did something, swerve, anything, you're dead. You know, you're lucky to live. How Ruggs himself walked away is just a miracle to me. And it's actually a testament to how great safety is in cars today. Obviously, he was wearing his seatbelt, and so was his passenger. Otherwise, there's not a chance in China that guy could survive that crash in any way. Now, here's what's going to happen. Obviously, he was cut from the Raiders. That's already been done. That is the least of his problems at this moment. He's being charged. He's going to be charged civilly. He's going to be sued civilly. So whatever he had, he has nothing. He's going to have nothing. This guy is going to go to prison. A vehicular homicide of this case in I think Nevada carries 2 to 20 years. 2 to 20. I don't think he's going to get 20 years in prison, and I don't think he deserves to get 20 years in prison. He has to be held accountable. Obviously, financially, he's going to be held accountable. But do I think he is going to get maybe 2, 3, 4 years? Yes. I hope he doesn't get more than that, and I don't see anything where he should. Now, people are going to say, oh, the person lost their life and stuff. Yes, that's why it's called an accident. This is a vehicular accident. Now, it's a homicide, but it's an accidental homicide. This is not a case of he deliberately tried to hit this girl or anything of that nature. Getting held accountable is one thing. He is only 22 years old, born in 1999. He was actually born on January 24th, 1999. He'll be 23 in a few months. I think the man will get out of prison. I hope he gets out of prison with a great head and rehabilitated. I don't think he should. I hate to say even rehabilitated. I don't know if he was into drugs or anything. Obviously, he was alcohol. But he's 22 years old. I mean, he got, let's face it. If he got home and everything was great, nobody would say a word. This kid's pure. Yes, he got caught. Obviously, rightfully so. But I think what's going to happen, he's going to go to prison. He's going to get out of prison. And I hope the kid can get a professional football career going. I don't think his talents are going to wane much in 3 or 4 years if he stays in shape in prison or whatever happens. I think that man can have a career. I hope he has a career. I hope he has a career for a number of reasons. One, for his own stability and mental health and everything else, because he's got to live with this for the rest of his life. Think about that. This man has got to live with knowing that he killed this person and this dog, Max. I know, people, yes, the dog's a part of it. I love my cats, you know that. But I think he needs it for his own mental health. I hope the family somehow can come to grips with it and do some good with what's going to happen with the money and everything else, because he's going to have to pay, and he might have to pay for the rest of his life financially. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it's going to work out. There is going to be a civil suit and everything else that goes along with that. She was a young girl, had her whole life ahead of her. 23 years old. 23 years old. Beautiful young lady. And doing nothing wrong. And boom. Just like that. Boy, it puts a little bit of a damper on your life. And you say to yourself, what is life about now? That's how I'm looking at it right now. Saying, wow, it can happen like that. 2 young people. 22 years old. 23 years old. Their lives are changed forever. I mean, one's passed away. He's dead. That's it. The other one's life is changed drastically. He had life by the balls, and now he doesn't. I do hope he gets out, and I do hope he plays, and I do hope he becomes an advocate maybe for not drinking and driving. It boggles my mind when professional athletes, and I'm gonna blame their advisors, their people who know who they are. You got that kind of people behind you, you got their money. There's no reason you either don't have a driver. Listen, hire a friend of yours for $50,000 for the year, and he's your driver wherever you go. Something of that, and especially when you're going out partying. I mean, you don't need a driver everywhere you're going, but at least when you're going out drinking or partying, going to a dinner date, you're going to be drinking wine or booze or whatever. Take an Uber, man. Ubers cost nothing today. I take Ubers. I'm no pure dude, man. I go out and drink, but I take an Uber. I look about the mistakes I made and how many times I could have been caught for DUIs. So many times. And there was no excuse back then. Take a cab. Today, take an Uber, take a Lyft. It's that quick. And, so I look at that point of it and say, man, I really feel for him. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen to him in prison. He's not going to go to a maximum security prison. That's number one. I was in prison with 2 professional athletes that I knew very well. Broderick Graves, who was a football player, got caught up into gambling and drugs. A great guy, good guy. He got caught up, and he was really a good man. And he, again, there you go. Don't believe in bad people, believe in bad choices. He ended up getting a life sentence. He did get out. That's what I heard. And I was also in prison with Willie Aikens. Willie Aikens was one of the best first basemen. He played for Kansas City Royals. Actually had a record for 2 home runs in a game in the World Series or something. And another nice guy. His knees were shot. I used to play with him. Boy, you didn't want him to hit the ball, do you? But those were drug cases, bigger cases. This is an accidental. So he'll either go to a low or even a camp, they call it, prison in Nevada. It's a state crime. This is not a federal crime. So he will go to either a camp or a very low security prison. He's going to be accepted, obviously. He's going to be an athlete. He's going to be able to play ball. And, you know, it's not like people don't understand what goes on and people didn't make their mistakes there in prison and stuff of that nature. So he's not going to run into that kind of stuff in prison. He's not going to be in a maximum security prison either. He's going to be in the prison that best describes his past, which obviously I don't think he has a past. You don't get drafted with the NFL without knowing your past, and they check your past and make sure your past is okay, and a whole bunch of things they do. So I'm okay with all of that that's going to happen to this young man. So I am a little bit worried about him getting caught up with the wrong crowd in prison. Because if that happens, then he's going to come out a totally different person. And it's not going to be pretty. And it can happen even in a minimum security prison. People are going to want a piece of him. They think he's got money. A lot of things can happen. If he has any kind of addiction issues, like if he was addicted to alcohol, I don't know he was. I'm not saying he is. If he was, or he has any tendencies to be, it's going to be very easy for him to get into that there, because there is no help in prisons, period. So, and it doesn't seem like they're like looking at this guy like, okay, he made the mistake and it's already in my 40. I heard the prosecutor on TV. In my 41 years, I've never seen already. I felt that disgust come out of that guy instead of, yes, it's a tragedy. This is a tragedy all around. All lives are ruined here, people. This has nothing to do with, you know, a bad act, that this guy's a fucking criminal. We got a guy down in Florida right now in trial, Marquise Lloyd. He's a fucking animal. That guy's a fucking animal. He shot a cop right in the fucking head, execution style. Just was convicted. It was a death penalty case, and he's going to probably get the death penalty. And that guy, you know, is what he is, you know, and you see a lot of that in prison, and I was around a lot of that in prison. So those are a different breed of people than this person. I just think at this kid's age, I'm hoping he does, I hate to say, make it out. I don't think for any reason that he's going to be abused in prison. I don't think he's going to have a hard time in prison even. As an athlete, he's going to play on all the sports teams, I hope. I hope he gets into some kind of programs that can help his mental state. Because I'm telling you, I don't care what you say when you kill a person, this guy's mental state has to be a little bit, because he's not a psychopath. You know, psychopaths don't give a shit about human lives. They don't care. They'll kill somebody for no reason and not give a fuck. This guy's not like that. This guy's a normal, everyday guy. He just had his whole life turned upside down in the flash of a second, because 127 miles an hour, things happen in a second, and his whole life just flipped upside down. There's no getting out of it. It's no way. They said, the prosecutor on TV said that he was uncooperative at the hospital. Well, he should be. At this point, he should be. I don't see any twists and turns and stuff of that nature happening. I don't know why. Obviously, he was out that late, but, you know, even that doesn't shock me. You know, he's 22 years old. I really don't know if a lot of these young athletes get the right management or the right mentoring from people like myself, who was, if I was around this young guy, I'm not going to stop him from having fun, because that won't work. But I'm going to direct him how to do the fun the right way without doing something like this. Take an Uber, have a driver, don't have a gun in the car. Even having a gun in the car when you're drinking, that's stupid in of itself. I don't think there's anything going to come of that. Even if it's not licensed, I don't think it's a big deal. He's not a criminal. He's a celebrity. He's worried about his safety. Yes, should have he got something? Yes, should have he got a license? Yes, if he does have one. Maybe he has one. Maybe Nevada doesn't require one. I don't know. But they just said there could be more charges. I don't know if that is true or not. But I do know that this guy, Henry Ruggs' life is changed. It's changed. And it's all for, and I'm sad about that. And I am very sad about Tina. I really am, people. Listen, I'm not trying to downplay it, but I can't bring Tina back. Can't bring Tina back, but we can try not to ruin another life. I mean, totally ruin it. It is going to be ruined. He's going to be held accountable, and the consequences should happen. But let's not ruin his life for the rest of his life. Let's see and give him an opportunity to change his life. Maybe he could be the biggest advocate for not drinking and driving that you ever saw. A professional football player that comes back out, makes it big time, becomes a Hall of Famer, maybe becomes the best wide receiver ever, because he's focused now and he's the biggest advocate for not drinking and driving. And he then tells other young athletes not to do this. And he speaks at schools and he speaks at colleges and does all of that. And all of a sudden, he's saving lives. You know, everybody wants to get everybody's piece of flesh. Everybody's like that. Get a piece of his flesh. He's a fucking animal. He shouldn't have did that. Like, you're all fucking perfect out there. None of us are perfect. I want you to look in your mirror right now, anybody watching this video, and you tell me you're perfect, what you didn't do wrong. But how many times have you gotten in a car and you just were a little bit little, and you might have been speeding a little bit on the road, and all of a sudden, bam, it's over. Your life is now over. Now you're not just going to get the publicity you're going to get that like this, which is pretty bad at this point. But I don't want people to start judging this guy for being this monster. He is not. He's not to me. He made a bad choice. And, you know, he's going to pay for it. And I really feel for him because I feel for the family of Tina. And I really feel bad for her family. She's gone. She's gone. It is sadder than sad. She is gone. You can't get her back. But we can maybe save this young man's life, and maybe he could save other people's lives. Maybe that's just the way I think from a man who got a second chance. Maybe it's just the way I look at people, and I have the positive outlook for people. I don't look at everybody and say, let's throw them in the way. That's not my way. I hope it's not your way. I hope your way is my way. Let's try to make people better, and they can help more people. People often ask me, why am I like that? Because I go, whatever we were doing isn't working. We're letting people out of prison who are still fucked up because they get no help in prison, and all of a sudden they have more victims out there. If we could save this young man's life and he becomes something again or whatever it is, and he shows that he wants it, and he could save other people's lives. And I want him to know that, and I hope he could watch something like this and try to think like that. You know, I hope he has the right people. Obviously, he didn't have the right people around him to begin with, because whoever gave him advice or stuff or never mentored him, or if they did, he didn't listen, and they didn't even see that he was listening by not having a gun or whatever, or driving and drinking and a gun and everything. That was a recipe for disaster, and it happened. So I want to just let everybody know this. You know, I wanted to give you my take on this incident and what's going to happen to him in prison. I don't think there's anything bad per se in the inmate population or even the people population happened to him. He's going to be held accountable. He's going to lose all his money if he has any money. He's going to pay for the rest of his life for this in here and in his heart for the rest of his life. And that's some burden to carry around. I hope he doesn't. I hope he comes to peace with himself. And I'd gladly try to talk to him or something of that nature. And I hope the people around him do too. Because, you know, he's not a bad guy. Henry Ruggs is not a bad man. Everybody stop this. Oh, these spoiled athletes. I'm reading all this shit already and I'm getting mad. Because you don't know the man and you're judging him on this one act. Don't do it. Look in the mirror and judge yourself on your own acts. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Please don't drink and drive. Make good choices. Make one good choice a day. Think before you act. Help your neighbor. Have a great day. See you Tuesday.